Hi, so we're going to do positive and negative space trees, and the way you're going to draw this is you're going to draw the negative space, and so the negative space is actually the black, and once you draw these shapes, the tree is going to appear. So let me go ahead and get started. So there's a grid on here. It's a fairly large grid. If you want to draw extra lines, you can. You do not need to. But on your watercolor paper, what you're gonna do is, the paper that you have should be about 9 inches by 11.5. And if it's not that exactly, that's okay. But what you're gonna do is you're just gonna start at the 0 over here on your ruler, and you're going to mark off half of 11.5. And half of 11.5, half of 11 is 5.5. So half of 11.5 is 5 3/4. Okay, so this is 5.5, and then this is 5 3/4. Lightly mark the line, and then you're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So make sure you're starting at 0 on your ruler, and then you're gonna mark at 5 3/4, which is right here, okay? Now, if your paper is a different size, that's okay. Just mark the halfway point on both sides, all right? So this one will be easier because this one is actually 9. So half of 9 is 4.5. I'm gonna do the other side. And then lightly connect those, right? So very lightly. Just barely drag your pencil across, guys. Do not draw darkly, okay? Okay, so now we have 4 quadrants, and we have 4 here. And so remember, don't draw the tree, draw the spaces behind the tree. If you need to squint at it, you can. So if you look right here, these aren't exactly the same size, but you can see like this starts just above the center line, like right about here. And there's this one right here is a little bit lower over here. And then right there. It's not going to be the exact same size, so don't try to put your paper up and measure it, because this is bigger than this, okay? And then I'm just going to kind of eye this. From the center, it's probably right about here, all right? So I'm just going to attach, if you watch the, so if you're looking at the curve of this black shape, I'm gonna kind of follow that curve. So it kind of starts lower, and then it goes up and then down a little bit. And you guys, listen, if you don't get it exactly perfectly, it doesn't really matter because it's a tree, but you do have to try to do your best to get it as close as you can, okay? And then this just connects to this. It's a little bit fatter. And still draw lightly when you're doing your tree, okay? That's pretty good. And then there's this little notch right here that I'm gonna draw. And then there's another little notch. And then there's this shape that looks like a half of an oval. And that looks like it comes to right about, if you're comparing it to this, it comes a little bit closer. So probably right about here. So, and then about here. So I'm just gonna connect those lines. And then this one, here to here maybe. Okay, so we have this shape, this shape, this shape, and this shape, and then we're gonna do this one, which comes almost directly from the center, down and up. And then there's this another teardrop shape here. And it's like further away than that, so I'm gonna go ahead and go over this way. Oops, wait, hold on a second. It's a little more curved than that, so. Okay, so I'm speeding up the video, but I'm doing the exact same thing where I'm kind of marking off where they cross that quadrant line and then connecting the dots. Okay, so now we have our tree. You can double check stuff, just make sure it looks right. I'm gonna just correct just a couple of things that look a little bit off to me. But everything looks pretty good actually. So what we're going to do is we're going to fill the background with watercolor, and we're going to fill the tree with oil pastel. And what you want to do is you don't want to do realistic colors, you guys. We're going to want to do contrasting colors. So, okay, so we got our oil pastels here, and hopefully you guys also have like a blending stuff. I don't have one, but I can do it anyway. So basically what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to blend a couple of colors on your tree, and then you're going to blend a couple colors in watercolor in the background. So I'm going to do my tree in orange and yellow, and then I'm going to do my background in violet. Those are complementary. Yellow and violet are complementary colors, okay? So I have a little bit of blue on my yellows. Get rid of that. Okay, so I'm gonna go with yellow in the center, and then I'm gonna do some orange on the edges. I think you're doing oil pastel. You know, actually, let's do our orange first, you guys. Let's do our orange first. So, because when you're using oil pastel, it's great. The best way to blend it is by using the lighter color. And the oil pastel is going to be a resist for your watercolor, which is going to be nice. It won't matter if you go over it a little bit with your watercolor, because it will, it won't stick to the oil pastel. The watercolor will stay on the paper side, okay? So guys, use your extra scrap piece of paper to cover up where you're not doing your oil pastel so that it doesn't smear, okay? If you put your hand on the oil pastel, it's definitely gonna smear all over the place. So just using a scrap piece of paper and cover the part that you're not coloring so that your hand stays away from it. So you can see where the white paper was showing through? Now when you come back over it with the lighter color, it fills those in. So I would like for you to pay attention, and I don't want to see white paper showing through your oil pastel, okay? And if you have a blending stump, that will help blend those edges a little bit. You can just use 2 colors if you want, or you can do 3 like I am. I will leave up to you, but you need to at least use 2, okay? Make sure you guys have a piece of paper on your desk as well before you start using the oil pastel, because it can get pretty messy, and it's better if you have like a piece of newsprint or something on the desk before you get started. Okay, so there we go. There's my tree. There's my watercolor. Your watercolor might look a little different, and that's okay. So I'm just adding water to the paints that I'm gonna use first. And then I'm trying to decide if I wanna use I think I might just use, this is like a pink color. Or you could use I have a different color violet, but I don't have it on my palette right now. So I'm just gonna do a quick little test over here to see what it looks like. This isn't even on watercolor paper, but oh yeah, that blends good. Okay, I'm gonna get my paper wet a little bit first. And the paint won't wanna go on the oil pastel, but just try to keep, you don't wanna just paint over it because it will smear onto your painting, okay? So I'm gonna add some pink. It's called Wet on Wet. And then I'm gonna add some violet. And this time I'm gonna go right up to the edge. The smaller areas, you're not going to need to add the water first, but this is big enough area that I want to try to do that. I'm gonna show you what it looks like just to go directly with the paint. I'm gonna move this down a little bit. Okay, so if you're painting in a smaller area and you're going directly with paint onto your paper, you just have to work a little bit faster so that you still get the blend between your 2 colors. And the bigger the area that you're covering, the more likely it is that you're gonna wanna out of the water before you add your paint. Otherwise you won't have time to get your second paint on there and have it blend, okay? So then we're gonna let it dry, and I'll take a picture of it to show you. Once it's dry, you can kind of lift off some of the extra paint on your oil pastel, but don't do it until it's completely dry, okay? So this is my finished tree. I would love to see yours. So if you get a minute, go on Instagram and tag me at Space to Create Art. This video was created by Sabrina Wingren at A Space to Create Art.